And if you're
Yeah.
having food allergies or chronic fight or flight, so chronically feeling overwhelmed and anxious,
Mm.
then this can be a sign that you have mold toxicity or are living in mold. Because when your
Yeah.
body is so stressed out because it feels like it's living in a war zone because you're living in mold, or you have sinus infection that is producing more mold or mycotoxins, your body, what I say, it gets into this shoot first, ask questions later kind of mentality. So it starts to identify foods that are not bad for you that you've ate your whole life as being allergens. So it identifies them as being something bad because it is no longer paying attention, no longer, oh, that's just broccoli. Oh, that's just sweet potato. It's going, I don't know what's going on. I'm just going to attack everything. So if your body feels that stressed out, figure out what is stressing it. And again, we're on the brain summit here, right? If you feel like you're declining, chronic stress, so living in chronic states of stress, like people that have been studied that have lived in countries that are going through war or civil war, or they're under duress, or people with abusive situations that they're living in for years, show brain functionality declining rapidly. So living in mold, same thing.
Mm. Yeah, so important. And so let's transition into heavy metals because that's a really big issue as well.
Oh, heavy metals. The first thing that comes to mind when I think about heavy metals is, what are you drinking? Are
Yeah.
you drinking tap water? So I hate to burst everybody's bubble out there. Flint, Michigan is not the only place that has bad water. 163 million Americans are drinking water supplies that have radioactive elements in them.
Mm.
So this is uranium, this is radon, radium, cesium, thallium, strontium. This can be in your water supply. And the article I read that on the first time was EWG, which was done through research. The second place, it was put onto Yahoo. I was like, what in the world?
Mm.
This is making big national news and media. And that was for radioactive elements. It is extremely common to see arsenic and lead, fluoride inside water supplies. It's actually fluoride's added to your water supply,
Yeah.
but arsenic is something that we're just not cleaning out nearly well enough. And EWG, which has its own standard of what is acceptable, I've seen 1,200 times that standard on their website for a water supply saying Oklahoma. So it's
Mm.
incredible the amount of metals that are coming through our tap water. And that's just one place. And why does this matter? Why does heavy metal matter? Heavy metals get into your body and they do a number of things. One thing is they can displace your normal minerals. So minerals like magnesium, sodium, potassium, calcium that you require to be able to do normal function. Without magnesium, you don't make ATP, which is your energy source. You have no go power, no gasoline for your body. That's what ATP is. It's what your body burns as a fuel source. So it can also, you can find things like mercury. You can find mercury in somebody's body, which can come from a number of places. The number one place is dental. So if you
Mm.
have any sort of metal in your mouth, and if you don't know, go to the mirror. As soon as you get done listening to this, open up your mouth, shine that fancy phone of yours, flashlight into your mouth, and look, is there a dark spot in on any of your teeth, right? So it could be that it's silver capped, or some people got a little creative over the years and they will actually put a ceramic or white cap over top of mercury fillings. So if you have that in your mouth, you need to consult with a biological dentist because what's going on here is they put mercury in your mouth, which, by the way, when you get mercury from a provider of this, so they send it to a dentist, it comes in a container that has skull and crossbones on it. And if that were to be shattered, that container on the middle of the street, they don't just wash that off with the garden hose. They send the hazmat team out.
Hmm.
So then they take this stuff and they put it in your mouth and they harden it, and as long as it's in your mouth, they say, oh, it's good, it's okay, it's safe. Except for we know that's not true because it will off gas mercury slowly. So it will break down slowly in your mouth for over 25 years. As long as it's in there, it's going to continue to off gas. And then when they go to remove it and they tell you that, once it's in you, it's safe, right? When they remove it, they go through the same process as far as safety, right? So they can't just throw this in the trash can, they have to put it in a biohazard container that has to be then shipped to a biohazard containment site. And then they have to know where that is forever because it is not something that we just allow back into our environment. Mercury is extremely dangerous and this is in your body. So I'll run a hair test on somebody, see mercury levels elevated and go, do you have any mercury in your mouth? And they're like, oh yeah. But some people say no. Some people are like, nope, don't have any, never have. Okay. Well, where else can this come from? Mercury can come from if your parents have
Mm,
mercury amalgams that can be circulating through their body, get into a child.
yeah.
This can cause issues with neurological development because mercury is neurotoxic. It is extremely neurotoxic. It's so
Mhm.
neurotoxic that they actually came up with Mad Hatter syndrome as a diagnosis for dentists that were putting mercury amalgams in people's mouths because they were inhaling it, doing their job 200 years ago. And when they very first started doing this process, they knew it was bad back then, but they kept doing it. And then the other place you can get mercury is if you are getting a lot of farm raised fish. It can be in wild caught fish, but it's higher concentrations in farm raised fish. So if you're a person that loves eating a lot of fish, you've got to make sure that your body can handle the amount of mercury that's coming in from fish. I tend to recommend for most of my clients who are usually a little suppressed in their detoxification, no more than 1 to 2 servings of fish in a week. I've got some clients. I just had one call me from Korea. She's like, we eat tons of fish.
Mhm.
And I was like, what's that mean? Well, she's like 4 or 5 times a week at least, but it could be 7 to 10 times a week because it's fresh and it's at our markets and it's one of the lower costing foods. But her mercury level was supposed to be below, let's just call it zero point 0.4. I can't remember what that test range was. And she was about 3 times the range. So she would have been like 1.2. It was actually off the top of my hair chest chart. And she had major energy function issues, major brain function issues. Anxiety was going really high, a lot of paranoia, which is very common when you're dealing with chronic heavy metal toxicity in the body.
Yeah, those are definitely big issues. So if you're getting fish, go wild caught, lower on the food chain as well, not the big fish. So if you're looking at tuna, the albacore is going to have more mercury than the kind of chunk light, the smaller tuna. And yeah, trying to get wild caught is very important there. And so that's really key. Also, vaccines are another source of
Mm-hmm.
mercury, particularly like the flu vaccine. That's one that they've kept it in. And so there's some vaccines that people are getting that definitely still have mercury, even though, a lot of people will say all vaccines, they've taken the mercury out, which, is not actually true.